let's go ahead and put together the RecyclerView adapter, which is going to be used for our list activity. Okay, so let's go to our project structure here. I'm going to put that inside of our UI, RecyclerView, say new, Java class. I'm going to call this RecyclerView adapter. Very good. Okay, so it's going to go ahead and extend our RecyclerView.adapter, and we're going to pass our RecyclerViewAdapter.viewHolder class, which we haven't created yet. Okay, let's go ahead and fix all of this mess here. I'm going to implement the methods. Indeed, we're going to go back to, of course, creating that class. I'm going to call this inner class. There it is. But this inner class here will have to extend our RecyclerView.viewHolder like this, which means it will have to also have a constructor as such. Okay, and we have an issue here. This always happens, so let's go ahead and fix this. Let's make this public. That will solve our problem, because since it's an inner class there, we need to make it public so we can access it. Very good. So there we go. We have our template for our RecyclerView adapter, which, as you know by now, we're going to be able to do all sorts of things here. So let's go ahead and create a constructor here. Now, this constructor here will have to get a few things. Of course, I'm going to go ahead and pass in context like that, and I'm going to pass a list of items or item objects there. Call a list item like this. Okay, so here I'm going to say this that context. Well, we haven't created a context instance variable here. Create one there. We can also go ahead and create our private list, which will contain items, objects, items list like this. All right, very good. So let's go ahead and set things up. So our context is equal to context we're passing. This dot item list is equal to item list. So we're setting things up there. Very good. So we have our RecyclerView adapter here, which will obviously go and get our row that we created earlier, list row there. Let's go ahead and do that right away. But before we even do that, let's work on our view holder, because this is where the magic is. So we're going to go ahead and create all those instance variables pertaining to our list row. So essentially all of these, make them public for easy access. Say text view, item name, item color, quantity, size, date added. And while we're here, I'm going to also pass an int, which is going to be an ID of each item. That's going to be handy when we want to actually pass this item to the next activity when they click on this row. You'll see that in a second. All right, so for reasons that you will see later, I'm going to also pass a context along here. So ctx, okay, so here I'm going to say context is going to be equal to our ctx like this, okay? We could have say this, that context, that works as well, but it's fine to say also context because it will know that we're actually talking about the context that we created at the top there. Next, we're going to set up our text views. So all of these items inside of our list view, all these widgets. Okay, so I'm going to say, start with our item name. I'm going to say view or item view dot find by ID, r.id dot item. Let's see. Oh, we have to import the r, import ID dot baby item. I think that's what we called. And then item color, item view dot find by r.id dot color. Gonna be this one there, and then quantity we go. Make sure you're getting the correct ID, because you notice here there are two of them. So when I say quantity, there's item quantity. This item quantity, if you remember correctly, it's actually an ID to the string resource, right? We don't want that. That's a common mistake. Want to make sure we get this correct one. Very good. And then size. There we go. We're getting there. Date added. Item date. Now, just to make sure that this is indeed the correct one, I'm going to say command and click there. It's going to take me to, there's two here. There's list row, list row. Okay, so it's showing correctly. Let's see. We have item date. Very good. So that is the indeed correct one. Just to make sure. It's always nice to verify things to make sure. Okay, so we have already all of these set up at this point, so we can get a hold of them. And next, we are going to also fetch these buttons here. So we have the edit button and the delete button. Before we forget, let's come up here. These are buttons. Edit button. Delete button. There we go. Very good. So the same thing here. There we go. Delete button. There we go. So we have those buttons set up there. And let's go ahead and actually say edit button dot set on click and pass this. Since there are two buttons, we're actually going to do, let's say delete button that's set on click listener, pass this. So what we're going to do now is actually implement the on click view holder inside of our view holder class there. That way we can just use this on click here. First of all, we're going to come down here, say switch v.get ID as such, and then we're going to say case where r.id that edit button. So when that happens, we want to do something. Let's say break first. What we're going to do here is we are going to edit item. Okay. In case r.id that delete. Well, we are going to delete item. Okay, we're going to do all that stuff. Very good. So we have everything set up for now in our view holder here. So which, as you know by now, or should know by now, we're going to be calling this and pass the view so that we can actually create the view. And we create the view inside of our RecyclerView adapter on create view. So at this point here, I'm going to come down here and create a view. And I'm going to use the layout inflator dot from passing the context, or I can say view group dot get context. Either way works. We can go with this one there. And then I'm going to say dot inflate. And what are we going to inflate? Our dot layout dot we want the list row. There we go. And then we're going to pass our view group there. And of course, we're going to pass false for our attached boolean there. Okay. Very good. Now that we have this view, which means all of the list row is inflated, all of this is already inflated for us, we're going to pass it through our view holder. So I'm going to say view holder, right, which is the class we have created at the bottom here. And we're going to pass our view because it actually allows us to pass the view, as you can see here. Very good. So the view we're going to pass, guess what, is going to be our view as such, which is this view here. And we also have to pass our context here. I'm going to say context because that's what we said it should pass. All right, so it looks like we're having some issues. Oh, insert new because we are creating a new object. There we go. All right, that's it. So this view holder here, it's going to go and take our view, which, as you very well know, is going to be whatever we're passing inside here, this item view. It will know to go and get the baby item ID, item color, all of these widgets. And now we have a full hold of our row. Okay, so let's go ahead and get a few other methods here done, for instance, on bind view. Now, before we even go there, let's get this get item count here squared away right away. This is going to just say list, item list, dot size. The easiest method that you'll ever create. Very good. So that we're done there. The onBind, this is where we're going to be binding the views and the data and be able to show whatever it is that we want to show. So what we're going to be doing here is we're going to create an actual object. So it's going to say item, right? Because we need it. And we're going to get this object from our list item.get and pass the position index. In fact, it has to be I. But to be more transparent here, I'm going to just call this position. Change that to position because it makes more sense. Like that. So now we have our object item. Very good. So once we have our object, we have our view holder. Again, it's the whole object that contains or allows us to access the item name, color, quantity, and all of the widgets. So we can set things up, right? That's the whole idea here. So I'm going to say view holder, which we have there. I'm going to go and invoke, for instance, the item name. I'm going to say set text. I'm going to say item.get name, like that. Okay, go ahead and view holder dot color dot set text item get color. There we go. Okay, it's a matter of fact of just going and setting things up here. Quantity, view holder dot size dot set text item dot get size, view holder dot date set text get date added, like that. That's it. Okay, we've done it all here. We've setting our view holder and setting our widgets to whatever we're getting from our object. And we're getting that object from our item list because at this point it will have all of the item objects, and we're saying get our object from our item list here by saying item list that get a single object each time we'll go through at a position that we are getting from our int position there, index. All right, so very good. At this point here, we should be good to at least be able to invoke our RecyclerView adapter on main activity, or I would say in the list activity here, so that we can start seeing whatever we have added into our database. Okay, so that's what we're going to be doing in the next video.